13 News at noon begins with breaking news out of Dallas, Texas. That's where there's an active investigation following a shooting at an Immigration Customs Enforcement facility. 2 people are dead, a 3rd person hospitalized. An ICE spokesperson says all 3 of the people shot were ICE detainees. No ICE officers were hurt in this incident. We know the suspected shooter is dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. A motive is not currently known. The FBI special agent in charge does say there were anti-ICE messages on bullets found near the shooter. So we will continue to follow this investigation. As you can see, it's very fluid in Dallas right now. We will bring you the latest on air as well as online at WTHR.com.
All right, thanks, Felicia. And update right now here for our weather. We had the rain and some rumbles of thunder last night. Roadways are drying out. And what we see in terms of redevelopment this afternoon is going to be more of a hit-miss variety, but maybe a little more hit over the far southern portion of the state. We're actually seeing some breaks in this cloud deck, and that's going to be kind of a tricky temperature forecast because you can see Crawfordsville is at 67, cloudy 64 in Columbus, but sun and near 75 in Muncie and 72 this hour here in Indianapolis, where we're starting to see at least some breaks. And 72, not much of a wind. What we're expecting for the rest of today is that temperatures will get into the middle and even some upper 70s depending on how much sunshine you get. Now I'm calling for some spotty rain chances, but as we play through, there's a stalled front near the Ohio River. And so as we watch future track 13 and get into later tonight, tomorrow morning, there will be some steadier, heavier rain, Seymour, Bedford, Columbus, perhaps even into Richmond, and we'll keep the mist going to start off tomorrow before we get into some sun breaks in the afternoon. We are still on target for a fantastic weekend, but before we get there, we have some fog to talk about, all coming up in the 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Sean. And the woman that many people would say saved the Indiana Pacers franchise has died at the age of 93. Nancy Leonard was the wife of Hall of Fame coach Bobby "Slick" Leonard and served as the de facto general manager of the struggling franchise in the 1970s. She organized a telethon that sold enough tickets to keep the team going in 1977. She also started the Indiana Pacemates dance team. And we just talked to Nancy in June. That's when she attended games during the Pacers' run to the NBA Finals. Her family says that her health declined in recent months. Her husband, Slick, died in 2021. And Metro Police are announcing the arrest of a suspect in the fatal shooting of a UPS worker on the northwest side. 28-year-old Paris Mall is now formally charged with 1 count of murder and 22-year-old Lorenzo Murray's death. We now know the 2 were co-workers. The shooting happened back in August near a UPS distribution center on West 81st Street. Officers say Murray had just gotten off work at the facility and was sitting on a bench when he was shot. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition where he later died. Authorities say before the shooting, Murray told his girlfriend that Mall was being weird, but he did not go into depth about what happened. Police say Mall left the scene and rode on an Indigo bus. A warrant for his arrest was issued Friday. He was arrested 3 days later. His initial hearing is set for sometime today. A 21-year-old man is facing multiple felony charges after this shooting over the weekend. 3 people were hurt, and now we're getting a look at new video of the gunfire. So when you look at the video, you can see someone fire shots into a crowd of people before grabbing another rifle and firing more shots. So we do want to note that 13 News is not showing the entire video. That's because it's graphic and it's hard to watch. Now, Carlos Contreras is charged with 9 counts, including attempted murder and aggravated battery. Prosecutor Ryan Mears says more needs to be done at the state level to help law enforcement officers. Mears says police are looking for a second person involved in the shooting. Anyone with info is urged to call IMPD. Now we have new details on the death of a toddler in Shelby County. So a mother is now held on a multi-million-dollar bond. This happened in Shelbyville. Court records say Sophie Igo called 911 to report her son's death. Police found Igo outside holding 2-year-old Jasper wrapped in a sheet. They say it looked like he died a while ago. Inside the home, police say they found unsafe and unhealthy conditions. The mobile home was infested with insects, covered in trash. Police say they found decomposing material in a crib they believe to be from Jasper's body. Igo is charged with neglecting Jasper and her 2 older children. The judge issued a no-contact order against Igo with her 2 surviving kids. They're in DCS custody. Igo's trial is scheduled to start in January. And State Attorney General Toddler is issuing another warning this afternoon, and this time it's to the Indianapolis City County Council. He says there will be consequences if they fail to cooperate with ICE. Rokita's office released a statement saying budget cuts are used to restrict the Marion County Sheriff's Office involvement with ICE and violate state law. Rokita went on to say, quote, "Cutting the sheriff's budget to block ICE cooperation is illegal and would endanger Indianapolis residents. If the council goes down this path, my office will act swiftly to enforce the law and keep Hoosiers safe." This is according to Rokita's office. The sheriff's office has helped federal authorities hold prisoners, including illegal immigrants, for nearly 30 years. Well, today, the Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee plans to revisit the sheriff's office budget. The Attorney General's office will monitor the meeting. And today's announcement comes as the Attorney General urges superintendents to act on reports of teachers making inappropriate social media posts in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder. Todd Rokita says his office is looking into several cases. He says it would be wise to remove teachers reported to his office. Critics say firing an employee because of posts on social media could violate the First Amendment. Clinton County commissioners are calling for the sheriff and the jail matron, who is his wife, to resign. It comes after a years-long investigation into Sheriff Richard Kelly and his wife, Ashley. So we have video, and it shows the couple at their first court appearance, which was in March of 2022. They're charged with official misconduct and criminal conflict of interest. Investigators say they set up a corporation to operate the county jail commissary and rake in the profits from that. They are expected to go on trial for those charges in May of next year. And nearly a year later, the Indiana Attorney General's office filed a complaint against them, all of this in an attempt to get the money back. Well, just last week, a judge found them liable for the misuse of nearly $220,000 in public funds, plus nearly $110,000 in audit costs. The commissioners issued a statement. It says, in quote, "When elected officials and those entrusted with public funds abuse that responsibility, they forfeit their right to continue serving in positions of authority." So we have reached out to the sheriff for his response. We'll let you know if we do hear back from him. Well, a lot of data center proposals are popping up in Indiana, and they actually come with varying degrees of support. So that's what people living in the Martindale-Brightwood neighborhood are trying to decide where they land on this issue. They're facing a proposal to transform this land you see here, which was once home to a drive-in movie theater. Alex Almanza is leading our data center coverage, and he's got more on how neighbors are working through the process.
Leaders with the One Voice community organization who helped organize the meeting told 13 News and other media that we could not film Tuesday's meeting, saying it was to encourage open discussion. Inside, residents pressed the Los Angeles-based company MetroBlocks on how their project would truly benefit the neighborhood.
Well, we got some questions answered, but I don't feel that they were questions that the residents in 46218 wanted to hear.
MetroBlocks CEO says the data center will only use a few thousand gallons of water to start, but then use a closed-loop water system. He says the 75-megawatt facility won't release any water into the community, adding this facility doesn't have a large footprint.
The first thing that's different is that this is small considered by today's standards, both in terms of acreage and in terms of the power envelope. The second thing that makes it different is that it's intended to be multi-tenanted.
MetroBlocks plans to rent out server space to third-party clients like hospitals, banks, or cloud storage. For residents, it just comes down to neighborhood benefit.
Is this data center safe for our community? And I believe the answer is yes. Secondly is, what can you do in terms of investing in our community? How can you help us, the quality of life around the center?
As of now, the project is still in its early stages, with no formal petitions filed yet. Until then, residents will keep the floor open to discussion, but after Tuesday, some aren't convinced by the sales pitch.
You know, they keep saying it's an empty lot. The lot has been empty since 1983. The lot is fine. It's fine the way it is. It's not hurting anyone. It's not helping anyone, and neither will they.
So that was Alex Almanza reporting. This meeting is just one of many that will be hosted to allow residents to ask the developer questions. The CEO says the reason they chose this vacant property is because the last thing they want to do is rezone farmland.